gotta kill.
You gotta kill to get those tattoos. How do you feel right now?
Gotta recognize that what happened to us is like that Titanic, that we were big and strong gang, but we got hit with the iceberg.
Are you gonna be here the rest of your life?
Yeah, the rest of my life. We murdered a lot of people, and this is the consequence of what we did one day.
How do you stay sane? How do you keep your head above water?
Like, try to act strong in the day and cry in the nighttime.
You cry at night?
Yeah, because we know that we're not gonna get out of here. It's a maximum security prison.
What was the gang that you were a part of?
MS-13.
Unlock the darkest stories and unravel the mysteries with Dark Crime Box. Subscribe now and step inside the world of true crime like never before.
A thin sheet of paper slides under a cell door at exactly 3 a.m. Chris Watts blinks awake on his bunk and just stares at it. He doesn't want to touch it. He doesn't need to. He already knows exactly what it means. For 7 long years, the man who destroyed his family has lived in a tight box of isolation. 23 hours a day alone, watched, monitored, kept away from everyone. Walls, guards, schedules, all designed to keep him breathing. But toward the end of 2025, something changed. The walls didn't feel like walls anymore. The guards didn't seem as close as they once were. And the isolation that protected him no longer protected him. Someone had already reached him before. Someone who knew he was running out of time. He thought he was smarter than the groups that quietly run the inner world of American prisons. He thought a locked door made him untouchable. He was wrong. This is the leaked story of what's really happening to Chris Watts behind bars. The silent organizations that want him gone, the threats that shadow his every step, and the impossible choices he's being forced to make just to stay alive. And before we continue, dear God, as we remember Sean and her daughters and baby Nico, may their souls rest in peace. Protect our families from evil. Type Amen in the comments if you remember them. Now, there's a rule in prison older than any law ever written. You can rob a bank. You can run illegal operations. You can fight. You can even take a life in a moment of rage. But you never harm a child. That rule is unwritten, unspoken, and sacred. Every inmate knows it the moment they enter. And anyone who breaks it rests at the very bottom of the hierarchy, where mercy does not exist. Chris Watts didn't just break the rule, he shattered it. History proves what happens to men like that. Jeffrey Dahmer, gone within months. A priest convicted in 2003, taken out within a year. The justice system locks them up. But inside those walls, inmates have their own justice, their own consequences, their own punishments. When Chris Watts entered Dodge Correctional, officials knew he wouldn't survive a single day in general population. So they locked him away. Protective custody, segregation, silence. Before you go, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss a new true crime breakdown. But prison isn't designed for secrecy. And in 2025, secrecy died. Budget cuts hit. Staff was reduced. Security softened just enough to let shadows move. Then it happened. One morning, Watts woke up and saw a folded paper under his door. A note slipped through the narrow gap when he was asleep. It was added to his file later. He picked it up. 3 words, written in pencil. We know where. No name, no threat, just a message. He reported it. Guards scanned for evidence, checked cameras, interviewed staff. Nothing. The person who delivered that first note knew when the cameras would swing away, which guards weren't watching, and how to reach a cell without being caught. A week later, another note arrived. Protective custody won't save you. Again, no answers. Again, no suspects. Again, someone slipped through the cracks. Officials moved Watts twice, changed staff rotation, altered his routines. But here's the disturbing part. These notes weren't coming from random inmates. They contained details only someone with inside access could know. One referenced a phone call he made 3 days prior. Another mentioned a book he had requested. A third described what he ate for breakfast. Someone was watching him closely. Someone who shouldn't have been able to. Now, I want to ask you something, and I want your honest thoughts. We all remember 2018. We all remember the anger, the horror, the heartbreak. But does that mean inmates should be allowed to terrorize anyone? Even him? Does justice mean fear? Does punishment include psychological warfare? I'm not asking you to feel sorry for him. I'm asking what justice really means. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Now, who truly runs American prisons? Wardens? Guards? Rules? No. Inside, the real power lies with underground groups, some large, some small, all organized. They control economics, movement, protection, punishment, and information. They enforce their own laws, their own judgments. And they all agree on one thing: men who harm children don't deserve protection. By early 2025, 3 separate underground groups had made their decision about Chris Watts. The first was the most influential, known only as the Circle, an old, ruthless, well-connected organization that has members scattered in facilities across the country. In February, an unusual event occurred in the prison library system. Watts requested a Bible, a King James Version. Routine. Normal. Guards checked it, scanned it, proved it. But they missed something hidden between pages 212 and 213, pressed right in the middle of Psalm 23. A folded letter. Not a note. A letter. 3 pages, single-spaced. The first line read, "You need protection whether you want it or not." The letter explained, budget cuts meant fewer guards. Fewer guards meant more opportunities. And more opportunities meant one thing: he wouldn't last long. Before you go, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss a new true crime breakdown. Then came the offer: complete protection. No fear, no threats, no surprises. All he had to do was agree to follow instructions when asked. If he accepted, he had to signal it by turning a book backward on his shelf. Something guards wouldn't notice, but watchers would. Watts immediately reported the letter. But the offer had been made, and word spread fast. Soon, another group approached, smaller, less powerful, offering partial protection with fewer strings attached. And a third group reached out through a prison ministry. They offered faith, guidance, community, but no physical safety. Chris Watts now faced an impossible decision: join the powerful group and be protected, but be owned. Join the smaller group, safer but still vulnerable. Or choose faith, isolation, and hope the walls hold. He wrestled with this decision for weeks. On May 3, 2025, he made his choice. He rejected both underground groups. He aligned himself with the ministry. Whether it was faith or fear of being owned, no one knows. But his choice insulted the groups who offered him protection, and excited the ones who wanted him gone. 3 days later, during recreation time, the unthinkable happened. Watts was escorted to the segregation yard, 30 by 30 feet, empty concrete, designed for 1 inmate. But when he stepped in, someone was already there. A lifer, connected, calm, waiting. Watts froze. He tried to signal the guards, but the man spoke. "Relax. I'm not here to hurt you." He walked slowly toward Watts, stopping just 10 feet away. Then he asked, "Do you regret it?" Before Watts could answer, guards stormed in, pulled them apart. But the man leaned in and whispered something only Watts heard. Afterward, Watts begged for emergency mental health help. He told staff he couldn't trust himself anymore, not with the fear inside him. From that day, everything spiraled. Hypervigilance, sleeplessness, weight loss, panic attacks, gray hair, constant shaking, a body trapped in permanent fear. And then, the letters began. Not from groups, not from inmates, not from angry strangers, from someone calling themselves watchful. These letters contained details no outsider should know. Times, schedules, conversations, even a description of his bunk placement. Then came the photograph, taken from inside his cell, at an angle impossible unless someone had been inside. The message was clear: We can reach you whenever we choose. Before you go, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss a new true crime breakdown. The hallway felt colder than his cell. Chris shuffled forward, hands cuffed, eyes glued to the floor. But everyone watching him already knew there was no hiding here, not after what he'd done. In this place, reputation didn't travel by rumor. It spread like wildfire. And today, the fire reached him. As he stepped into the intake area, voices whispered, then fell silent. A group of inmates stood against the wall, tattoos like warnings carved into their skin. One of them, broad shoulders, steel eyes, locked onto Chris the moment he entered. You could almost feel Chris's heartbeat from across the room. The guard guiding him didn't slow down. He knew what Chris was walking into. He'd seen this scene too many times. New inmate, high-profile case, predators circling. Chris swallowed. He kept walking. Then it happened. A voice echoed from the back of the room. A low, cold voice dripping with threat. "Hey, that's the guy, isn't it?" A few inmates stepped forward, forming a loose half-circle. This wasn't friendly. This wasn't curiosity. This was a test. A warning. A reminder that whatever life Chris lived before meant nothing now. One inmate leaned close enough for Chris to feel his breath. "We heard what you did. You're in the wrong place, man." Chris froze. No words. No excuses. Only fear. A guard finally stepped in, breaking the moment with a sharp command. "Move. Intake first. You'll deal with assignments later." But the look the inmates gave Chris said everything. This isn't over. This is only the beginning. As he was escorted away, Chris knew one thing clearly. Prison wasn't just punishment. For him, it was a countdown. A countdown to the next encounter. The one he might not walk away from. Chris enters the prison intake area, and the atmosphere instantly shifts. Inmates stop talking, eyes lock onto him, and the tension becomes almost suffocating. A group of hardened prisoners steps forward, recognizing him immediately. One of them calls him out, making it clear they know exactly what he did, marking him as a target. Chris freezes as the inmates close in, testing him, warning him, and letting him know he's not welcome. A guard eventually breaks the moment, pulling Chris away, but the damage is already done. The stares, the comments, and the unspoken threat tell Chris a chilling truth. This is just the beginning. His real punishment starts now, and every day will feel like a countdown to something far more dangerous.